Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jay and this is Jay's Travel Time. I'm happy to see you all again on Monday. And today I'm going to be talking about how to plan a trip in general. For me, what I do when I'm planning a trip in the future, then I want to explain to you what I do when I plan my trip. The first thing is I plan at least 2 months in advance. That's the least time I will give myself. Usually I go for more time. I usually have my trips planned 6 months in advance, a year in advance, but the least time I will give myself is 2 months, because you need time to plan for what you're going to do over there, and also reservations. Some of them, if you do go there and there was a place that you wanted to see, it might require some reservations. And for the most part, from what I've seen from my experiences, is that locations get booked 1 or 2 months before the due date. So if you want to go on the 3rd month, then plan it, do the reservation on the 1st month, not on the 3rd month itself, because usually it will be booked for the day, especially if it's a weekend, it's going to be booked. And if you want to get days that there's less people, I would recommend doing a weekday, not a weekend, for reservations, because it's going to be less crowded. For the most part, everyone that does live there is going to be at work, or usually people do like to go to places like that on the weekends, not on the weekdays. The other thing is when I buy my plane tickets. Usually I buy my plane tickets when it becomes available. For most airlines, it's usually 6 months in advance, but sometimes I do 3 months, which is pretty good. The price is still right. If you get closer and closer to your due date, the price ticket is going to go up and up. And I know that it does become cheap when it's the month off, because that's when people are no longer usually buying the ticket for that plane. But it's really risky, and you don't want to risk losing your flight for the place that you want to go to. And if you have hotel reservations, you need to have a specific flight time for when you do arrive for your check-in. And if that whole day is already booked and there's only one ticket left, it's usually going to be the highest ticket, and it's going to be one of the higher classes on the plane as well. 3 months in advance is usually a good time. The tickets are still pretty cheap. Usually it's better if you get it a little before, but the plane tickets are cheaper around that time. And I usually buy mine 6 months, or 3 months would be the least time that I give myself to buy plane tickets. If you're going to a country that is next to yours, usually the plane tickets are pretty cheap, so you don't really have to worry about that. If I do go to a country that's next to mine, the plane tickets don't really change that much, maybe by a couple tenths of dollars. So I usually do buy those the month of or the month before. But if I'm going to a country that is far away, it's overseas, and it's at a great distance, then those I will buy 3 or 6 months in advance. If I know that my hotel is in this city, I will look for locations around that city. Usually when we do travel, we like to go everywhere. We want to see everything. I want to see everything. But with the distance of where you're staying and to the location that you want to go, it's usually going to be sometimes far, and it's going to take a lot of your time. Unless you want to sacrifice 1 or 2 days to go see one location, then you can do that. But if you want to see several locations on one day, I would recommend not getting locations that are extremely far away, because the distance in the traveling is just going to be too much. So usually what I do is that if I know that I'm going to a certain city, I'm going to look and search for places in that city and what's around there, and then I would just create a pattern that I will go here and here and here, and I will see those locations today. Tomorrow, if I do want to go to a city that is a little more distant, then I will go there and I will plan locations around that area. and that's usually what I would do. And I would also search for reservations, that if there is a place that I find and it has reservations, then I will reserve it, the 2 months in advance, like usual. The last thing I want to talk about is be realistic on how long things are going to take. When we do travel and when we do go out to a new country, we want to see everything, and we want to go and see far and wide everything that they have to see. We search videos, we look at locations, we're like, I want to see this, I want to see this, I want to see this. We want to see everything, but you have to be realistic on the time, because if you tell yourself, for example, I'm going to go here and I'm only going to be here for 30 minutes or 1 hour, then I can go here and see this place for another 1 hour. We want to do 1 hour, but in reality it might take more than 1 hour. If you think it's going to take 30 minutes, it might actually take 1 hour. If you think it's going to take 1 hour, it might actually take an hour and a half or 2 hours. It all depends, but you have to be realistic on time. I've been in situations where me and my friends have planned to see many locations, and when we do go and we do those locations, we're running all over the place because we have to go here, we have to go here, we have to go there, and we're only doing 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, here and there. And by the time we know it, we're on our third location. We still have 3 more to go, but we're running short on time and the locations are going to close, and it just causes a lot of frustration. So you have to be realistic on the time, because we think and we want to be efficient, but when you are there, you're enjoying your time, and you lose track of time, and everybody wants to see. And when you do go there, you see something that you didn't originally plan to see, then it's going to take extra time. And you also have to take into consideration the travel time between place to place. It might be longer, it might be shorter, but you need to be realistic on time. Usually I don't try to plan more than 4 things per day. It depends what I'm going to do, but I usually try to keep between 4 things that I'm going to do, because most locations are within an hour away from each other or more, so that takes time. And then when you do go there, you are going to take a large amount of time depending on what you're doing and how large the location is. So you have to be realistic on time, and that's something that I've learned through my experiences. And it wasn't fun at the time, but now I know, and that's what I do during my travels, and it really, really helps me a lot. So I recommend to you that you become more aware of how long you're actually going to take, and plan your trip accordingly to the certain locations that you're going to see, how far they are, and how long do you think that you're going to take there, and just add a little more extra time. If you think it's going to take 30 minutes, then just add a little more time to that, and that's usually around how long it's going to take. This is usually what I do when I plan my trips, and usually everything works well according to what I do, and I really do enjoy my trip, and I hope that this really helped you too. And good luck on your next trip. I'll be posting another video next week, and I will see you all soon. Thank you.